Hi friends! Today we're going to do a practice on the mat, on your back. And if you don't have a mat, that's fine. You can be on any surface that you want to be on, just making sure it's a hard surface. So if you're on your carpet or on your floor, you can also find any padding or blanket for underneath your body. And if you're not used to being down on your back for an extended period of time, today's practice might be between 15 and 20 minutes. I would recommend placing like a pillow or a blanket behind your head, because you'll realize how heavy your head actually is if you are laying down on a hard surface, and you might start to feel a little soreness back there. So finding something to soften the floor for you. So on your mat, on your back, for your back. So a lot of the stretches that we're going to be doing today are specific to just opening up the SI joint area, your sacroiliac joint, where a lot of different muscles intervene and connect. So around your hips and your low back, the tops of your glutes, like everything is kind of centered into this one space. You might have heard this a million times from me, or maybe not, but I kind of, in my brain, I understand this place in our body to be similar to like the city of Boston, right? So we know that getting into the city is really challenging, and getting out of it is challenging too. Just really poor planning. So I imagine that our SI joint, the very base of our spine where our hips are, it's like all of these muscles are intersecting the same way that all of these different routes in interstate highways are like moving into the same place. So sometimes things just kind of get jammed up because there's so many things kind of moving into that place. So again, this practice is intended to hopefully ease some lower back discomfort, as well as bring more awareness and mindfulness into your day-to-day, and how the choices that you make and how to move your body, how they impact how your body feels, right? These habitual patterns that we're all sometimes blind to, right? How we stand, how we sit. For me, I notice more than ever, like within the last year, that I sink into my right side. So if I'm standing for a long period of time, it's really rare that I'm actually gonna kind of lean into the left. I'm always sinking into the right side, which for me and my body has caused my left hip to be more weak. So I'm not usually using that side of the body as much, the same way that we don't use our non-dominant hand. So even though our body parts aren't perfectly symmetrical, we are pretty symmetrical beings. So trying to understand, like, how can I use both sides of my body, or at least start to use my non-dominant side a little bit more, to start to kind of bring more balance into both sides. So like even when I'm cooking and stirring, right, I'm always using my right hand. So how can I just take a break and use my left hand? Because I have a whole really good hand here that can work and do that for me. So let's get onto our backs now. Oh, the one thing that I have nearby, in other videos, I've been talking about using like a towel, like a bath towel. You would just kind of wrap it up so that it's more of like a long, almost like a strap in a way, and it's not like the full length width of the towel. You could use a belt, like a bathrobe strap. You can just pull that off your bathrobe. And for these purposes today, I do have like a regular yoga strap, but I didn't have it in this room, and I noticed that my dog's leash was right by the door. So I said, oh, I'm going to use that today, because I know not everybody has a yoga strap. So this is something, if you have a pet, that maybe you do have a leash nearby and you can use it as your strap. So come on down to your back. Have your strap nearby. We're not going to use it right away, but we will. And again, pad your head if you need to. And just start to kind of find a comfortable place where you can start to settle in with your feet planted down and your arms down by your side. And with your back body against the mat like this, start to notice if you can feel your breath almost like it's lifting you up when you breathe in. And then notice as you exhale, releasing this air, does your body feel like it's getting heavier or it's kind of relaxing into the floor? Good. So the first movement that we're going to start to do, and we'll eventually connect it to our breath, but essentially it's like we're going to be doing cat and cow pelvic tilts, but here on our back. Again, just to start to wake up these subtle muscles, wake up these subtle actions, and start to really dive into how the body can move. So with your arms down by your side, your pelvic bowl, if you were standing, it's a lot easier, right? But our lower back, or really like our sacrum, is going to slide back and forth. So you can imagine your tailbone, and imagine like you are a dog putting its tail between his legs. What does that feel like in your body to kind of scoop your tailbone under? You should feel this part of your back, your lumbar spine, flattening down towards the mat. And then when you release, you're kind of tilting your pelvic bowl forward, and right, you can see my hand. I created that space in my low back. So we're going to find those pelvic tilts a few times, tucking the tailbone under and then shifting forward. Good. So as we start to get used to this motion, back and forth, really subtle. You don't have to move quickly at all too. You can move at your own pace. You might just start to notice other muscles that are kind of coming in for the party. They're starting to wake up too, right? So when you tuck your tailbone, flatten your back, maybe you start to feel something in your core, your low core, maybe even your pelvic floor. Right? And a toned pelvic floor is essential for our abdominal health and strength, and our abdominal health and strength is essential for our low back, our spine, right? Our entire body. So by doing this, we're just starting to activate pelvic floor muscles, and again, all of those different intersecting muscles in the low back. Okay, so we're going to do this a few more times, but we'll start to connect our breath. So as you inhale, like this is your cow. So you're breathing in, there's the space below your back. And then you're exhaling and you're squashing that space, pulling your low belly down towards the floor. Breathing in, tilting forward. Exhale, squishing that space. A few more times. Good, and then as you inhale here, just pause, release your exhale. And then one more time, tuck your tailbone under, and this time bring your knees both into your chest. Ooh, excuse me. Knees into your chest, gentle rocking side to side. And then continuing, just finding some nice fluid movement through our hips. Bring either hand on top of either knee and start to open your knees apart from each other and then circle them back in. So you're creating opposite circles with your knees, kind of just swimming them around. And you can get creative with this too. You don't have to make it so structured. You can just kind of let your knees move in different circles in different directions. All right, doing that for a few more seconds, just taking a few breaths. And it's like we're kind of finding the motion of an egg beater by bringing the knees away and apart and back together. And now with both of your knees coming in towards the center, keep your right knee in and just step your left foot down. So we're not going to extend it yet, just step it down and hug your right knee in towards your chest. You can roll around your right foot, your toes, your ankle. Good. And then bring your left knee back in. Nice little squeeze. And then drop your right foot down and hug your left knee in. Roll again around through your left foot. Good. And then release your left foot down. So we're going to take the strap in just a moment, but starting again at that beginning position, press your feet down into the floor. We're going to find a few rounds of bridge with our breath. So arms press down, your chest starts to puff up towards the sky, and you'll breathe in to lift your hips, lengthening the front of the body and the front of the hips, and then exhale, lower back down. Let's do that for a total of 5. So breathing in, exhale, and 3 more here. Right, as you move and breathe and lift, your knees are pressing forward, then also as if you had a block squeezed between your thighs. So they're hugging slightly inward. They're not coming in to touch each other though, but just allowing them to stay in alignment right out of your hip point. I think we have one more, so just take one more, breathing in, and then exhale down. Good. Find your strap or whatever you're using for a strap. And we'll start with the right foot. So hugging your right knee in, place the middle of the strap on the ball of your foot, just between your toes and your arch of your foot. Right, so this one, obviously, I'm using a little leash. It's actually a really short leash. So if you have something longer, allow the strap to come down to you so your arms can almost like be resting on the floor like this. I'm gonna have to reach up a little bit higher, which is fine, but just make sure that your shoulders feel comfortable and relaxed here. It's a big stretch for the back of the right leg. So we're just gonna take a few breaths here as you press your heel up towards the sky. And now you can start to extend your left leg if that feels good, right? If this is too much pressure behind your left knee or on the top of your left hip, you could always have a rolled blanket underneath your left knee. I'll just slide my bolster there to show you what I mean. So that could rest there, so that way you're not having to really like try to press this leg down. It has somewhere to land, which can feel more grounding. And then just start to kind of sway your leg gently from side to side. And notice when you move your foot across the midline over to the left, if you feel that stretch through the outer right hip. And then we're going to take that stretch through the outer right hip. So placing the strap both sides in your left hand, guide your foot across your body over to the left without taking a twist. So your right hip is still down. We're not lifting and twisting all the way over, although we could, but that's just a different pose or a different purpose. So for right now, just breathe into your outer right hip. as if your inhale that expands your lungs and your chest could also expand your muscles throughout your hip. We're inviting in more oxygen into the body. Good. Now come back to center, bend into your knee, release the strap slowly. Hug your knee into your chest one more time. And now we will invite in more of a twist. So now the knee is going to come across and your right hip can lift up. Trying to keep your left knee kind of down so you're not twisting your knee all the way over. You're kind of moving onto your left hip while the right hip lifts up off of the mat. And then your right hand, you can reach it out to the side. You can turn your head to the right as well. And then come back up through center. Good. And release your right foot down. And then take your left foot in. All right, so we're first going to get started with just having the foot down and then hugging the left knee in. Good. Now, if you'd like to, you can extend your right leg. Again, you can have that pillow or blanket underneath your knee. Good. And then find your strap and place it on your left foot. And extending your leg. Right, again, this is your practice, so being sure to never compare your practice or your body with the video that you're watching, because it's going to look really different or feel really different for you. So your leg, you might be down here and you might be feeling that stretch, and that's great that you're doing this for yourself so you can start to invite in more mobility, right? That's the goal of these practices, mobility and flexibility. So that way, you know, as we age and get older, you'll be able to put on your own shoes and reach for certain things, right? It's just about being able to move comfortably in your own body. So let's start to move the leg a little side to side, really gently. And then moving back into the center, hold the strap just with your right hand. You can extend your left hand out for counterbalance. And just slightly moving that leg across the midline while still pulling the foot towards you. Right, if this is a new practice for you, or you're coming back after a long time away and you're noticing a lot of stiffness and tension in your body, just be kind to yourself. A lot of the narrative in our mind often is kind of self-defeating. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm so tight. I really should be doing this more. I can't believe this, or this isn't where I'm supposed to be. And just let all of that go, because this is where you're at now and you're doing things now to take care, and that's what counts. And so come back to center and bend into your knee and hug your knee in one more time, and then extend your left leg long to meet your right leg. We're going to take a full body stretch here, reaching the hands up overhead. If you're still on your blanket under your knees, that's okay. And then lower yourself back down. Okay, remove this blanket or pillow if you have it, and bend back into your knees. With your feet coming nice and wide. Oh, I think I forgot something. I did. The twist on this side. So the left knee will come back in, and then moving across. Yeah, there's the There's the twist. Reaching your left hand out. Right, and twists are never meant to be forceful. We're not trying to pop our back into place. We'll save that for the chiropractor. Just letting your knee move across comfortably so you can feel a twist happening in your spine, your skin, your internal organs, all twisting here. Okay, and now come back to center. Good. Okay, both feet will plant down. Feet come nice and wide, wider than your body is right now, and sway your knees from side to side. Good. So with your knees moving to the left, pick up your right hand and reach your right hand up. Press your right knee away from your body. And then as you bring your knees back to center, your right hand comes back down and your knees move over to the right. And you pick up your left hand and reach it up as you press your left knee away. Good, then come back up to center again here and lower your hand back down. And you can continue finding a few little windshield wiper swipes back and forth. Great. And then when you're ready to, letting your knees fall in whatever direction and letting yourself roll slowly all the way back up to a seat. So thank you for joining me today on the mat, on your back, for your back. I hope this short little practice provides some relief during these gardening days and being outside and being a little bit more active. Your body might be responding with some tension, so it's important between all of that activity to slow down and just take some time to stretch in some really feel-good ways. So I'll see you again for our next video. Thank you so much for being here. Carrie signing off from the Yoga House.